Summer camps and daycares are back in business, and while that may be music to a lot of parents' ears, there are still a lot of questions about just how safe they are when we're still dealing with COVID-19.
Tonight, Channel 2 investigator Bill Spencer gives you the facts about these programs so you can make the right decisions to keep your family safe.
Everybody needs to have their masks on before we go inside.
What's wrong with my feet? Everyone's not.
Okay, so you're finally ready to send your kids to summer camp. Get your children out of the house, get yourself back to work.
Okay, boys and girls, when we're in the pool, what are some of the things that we have to do to stay very safe?
But whether it's day camp or getaway sleepover camp or just traditional daycare, you have big concerns.
Well, big thing, before we sent here, I asked them, what is your procedure? You know, what are you guys doing? You know, how are you keeping things clean? 1, 2.
Patrick Quinlan of Kingwood is sending his 4-year-old daughter Hazel to the Kids in Action day camp for 10 long weeks. His biggest worries, cleanliness and the history of the camp.
There's been no one that's got sick to this point. There's been no one that's anything. There's been no record of anything happening here.
You got about 105 kids in this building, about 30 teachers. Of all these people you've had through the building, have you had any cases of COVID-19 in the kids or the adults?
Not at all.
Not one?
Not one.
At the Kids in Action Day Camp in Kingwood, they care for children all the way from infants to 5th grade. Parents aren't allowed in. They screen every staff member and child before entering. And they keep each and every child within the same small group of children every day.
It's not different kids every day. It's the same kids, the same teacher, the same classroom.
Another precaution they're taking involves the toys. Whenever a child finishes playing with a particular toy, the attendant comes over and throws that toy into the yuck bucket. Then all of these toys are cleaned and disinfected before they're put back into the playroom.
All right.
See you guys. Good to have you.
Thank you so much.
Another big question for parents like Rebecca and Wes Greenwood of New Caney is how likely are their kids, 3-year-old Dakota and 5-year-old Alana, to catch the coronavirus at camp and bring it home?
I was most concerned about my parents. Are both very high risk if they caught it, and they live next door to us, and I actually go over and caretake them. And so anything that came home to me, I would be taking over to their house.
Now, several new studies indicate children have far lower rates of infection. In one study out of China that studied 105 COVID-19 patients who had contact with 392 people, 20% of the adults became infected, but only 4% of the children were infected. In another study released in Iceland, out of 13,080 residents tested, 100 adults tested positive for COVID-19, an infection rate of 0.8%, but none of the children tested positive. And finally, children are far less likely to die from COVID-19. In a study out of hotspot New York City, there were 23,083 COVID deaths as of May 21st. Of those who died, just 14 victims were younger than 20 years old, and 4 were under the age of 9.
The good news is that most of our healthy children usually tend to do better with it. Many of them are asymptomatic or minimally symptomatic.
So, Freddie, did you pick those out today?
As for 4-year-old Hazel, it's her birthday, and her dad is confident sending her to camp this summer is the right thing to do.
We had to kind of start thinking we need to form some normalcy back in our child's life. All this time at home has been tough on her.
Now, if you're planning on sending your child away to a sleep-away camp, the CDC has strong recommendations for their safety. The camp should limit the kids to small groups, keep those kids in the same group every single day. The beds should be aligned so that the kids are sleeping head to toe and spread at least 6 feet apart. I'm Bill Spencer, KPRC, Channel 2 Investigates.